this definitely took a long time to come. There go the trucks again. I know it's been 5 months, but I finally found the time to make a full game review again, and this was a really important video, so I had to make this. Why I didn't do it 5 months ago?
Because it's my show.
Back in 2015 or so, Nintendo said that they were going to be making a new console, codenamed NX. We didn't get many details from there, but rumors kept popping up all over the internet. I tried my hardest to avoid them as much as possible, but they just kept coming and coming until I ultimately got sick of them. I didn't want to hear anything about the NX unless it was coming straight from Nintendo themselves. Eventually, we did get something. Nintendo didn't unveil the NX at E3 2016, which some people thought was a mistake on their part, but apparently it was to keep Sony and Microsoft from thinking of ways to copy it early. It makes sense, I guess. I don't know anything about business. I don't know. Then finally, after months of speculation and ridiculous rumors, the NX was officially revealed in October 2016 as the Nintendo Switch. I made 2 videos about the Switch already, one where I talked about it after it was first revealed, and another where I talked about the additional stuff revealed at the presentation in January. At that more recent event, they announced that the Nintendo Switch would launch on March 3rd for $300. A bit much for the kind of system that it looked like, but I guess it's pretty reasonable. I wasn't expecting to get the Switch on the day it came out, but I did, and here it is. But how did I get it so soon? Well, here's a little backstory. My dad and I went to the Nintendo store in New York City for the big launch event. It wasn't our first time going to the store. We've gone there every year since 2009, but this was our first time going to a console launch, and they were pretty serious about it. There were demo stations, a huge Switch replica in the middle of the store. There were even Nintendo Switch-themed buses outside. The atmosphere was incredible, and when we got to the second floor, my dad basically said, "You know what? We're here, your birthday's coming soon, let's get it now." After picking my jaw up off the floor, we got in line, bought the Switch and a game to play it on, and even though it's the only birthday present I got this year, I don't care, because that alone made going there so worth it. Oh, and when we got into the city, we parked at a parking garage that was just across the street from the Richard Rodgers Theater where Hamilton is playing. That made the day even more awesome. Did you just make a clicking sound when I was filming? So, after months of anxiously waiting for it to come out so that I can finally get my hands on it, I've played with the Nintendo Switch quite a bit. And since it's been out for a little over 5 months now, it's finally time for me to inform you on how my experiences with it have been. The shadow that the camera is casting on me is probably bothering a lot of you, but who cares? I'm filming this video anyway!
Let's start with the console. This is the Nintendo Switch by itself. It's a screen similar to a tablet or a Kindle. On the back you get the Nintendo Switch logo, some speakers on the bottom, and a kickstand which has a micro SD card slot hidden behind it. On top you get a power button, volume controls, a fan to keep it from overheating during play, a headphone jack, and a game slot. The Nintendo Switch takes cartridges like the DS or the 3DS, and with all those other features in consideration, you'd think this was just a handheld gaming tablet. But don't let that fool you. This is a home console, and I'm just scratching the surface. More so than the dock is doing to the screen. Speaking of which, the system comes with a docking station. It bears the Nintendo Switch logo on the front and 2 USB ports on the side. This little door on the back here opens up to reveal an extra USB port, an HDMI out, and a port for the AC adapter, which can also be plugged into the console itself through this port on the bottom. Bottom. What I like is that the wires can come out through this little hole here, so it's much neater and helps reduce the amount of wire spaghetti, because I have enough of that already. Hey, that rhymes! But what is the point of the Switch dock? Well, by putting the console inside, the images you would see on the tablet screen appear on the TV screen. Here we can see that the interface is extremely different from other Nintendo systems. It's very simple, organized, and almost disturbingly modern. You get 12 slots for physical games and digital downloads. There are icons here for things like notifications or the photo album and the eShop, and you can create user profiles. Here's my friend code if you want to add me. And I know, My me is the best me. The only minor issue I'll bet people will have with this interface is how many game slots you're given. There's only 12, which I'm sure won't be enough for those looking to strictly download all of their games to the system. It's likely this is because at the time it came out, there weren't that many games to buy for the Switch, and I'm sure that more game slots will be added to the home menu when future system updates are released, so I don't have a huge problem with it. On the bottom of the screen, you have 6 unique icons. There's a news section where you get notifications from Nintendo with some humorous messages attached to them. Then there's the eShop. It works like the version you'd find on the Wii U or the 3DS, with games available for download, demos to play for certain games, all that fun stuff. Next up is the album, where you can view screenshots that you take by pressing the capture button on the left Joy-Con. As you can see, I'm very fond of capturing awkward close-ups on people's faces, dogs, and instances of mild cursing. Also, you can add text to your pictures if you ever feel the need to correct any grammatical errors. And you can even post screenshots to Facebook and Twitter. That's pretty cool. The other 3 icons aren't too exciting. The 4th one is just for syncing up controllers, the 5th one is for system settings, and the 6th one is for putting the console in sleep mode. Well, then again, there is one cool thing you can do in system settings. You can change the menu theme to make it black or white. I like the black one, personally.
Please stop typing your comments. You know exactly what I was talking about, and I really don't want to go into that territory. Well, now that I've brought attention to it, that probably didn't help.
What I do want to go into, however, is the controller. The Nintendo Switch technically comes with 2 controllers out of the box. These things, they're called Joy-Cons, and they have very unique attributes. For games like 1-2 Switch, which I don't own, you can use them kinda like Wii Remotes, with special motion controls that almost perfectly mimic the feeling of something like shaking a glass with a certain number of ice cubes in it. This HD Rumble feature, as it's officially called, is pretty stellar. I can only wonder, though, how future games will take advantage of it. The Joy-Cons can also be held horizontally and used as classic NES-style controllers. And along with the L, R, ZL, and ZR buttons on the vertical side, they also have SL and SR buttons on the other side. For games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I also don't own.
Funny enough though, as of recording this video, I ended up buying Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for my Switch, and I didn't have the time to change the script to add it in, so you'll hear my thoughts on it some other time, and I'm gonna wait till I cover the original Mario Kart 8, so just be patient, I'll get to it. What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
2 people can use the Joy-Cons this way to play together. I've heard people say this wasn't particularly comfortable, but for me, it feels perfectly fine. Just don't put the straps on them. The SL and SR buttons aren't nearly as responsive, and they're also a pain to take off. By attaching the Joy-Cons to this peculiar-looking grip, the 2 controllers become one. It's shaped in a very odd way, but it feels surprisingly nice. If you don't want to use the grip though, then you can take the Joy-Cons out and keep playing. It's kind of like using a Wii Remote and nunchuck, and when I'm playing a game on the TV, I can just lean back on the couch and relax. It's a great feeling. But if you want an even better gaming experience, grab the Switch Pro controller. It's way more expensive than it needs to be, but I love how it feels, and it's the definitive way to play your Nintendo Switch games. Or at least games that are compatible with it.
Well, I think I got through most of the main stuff by now. The console, the controllers, the different modes. Oh wait, I didn't get to those yet, did I? Well, let's do it now.
There's a reason why this thing is called the Nintendo Switch, because you can switch between different gameplay methods. The main one is TV mode, where you hook up your Switch to the dock and play your games on a TV screen. Then there's handheld mode, where you can use the Switch as a handheld and play your games wherever you go. Finally, there's tabletop mode, where you can rest the Switch on a table using the kickstand and play your games that way. This technology is incredible. It's the perfect solution to all the problems that the Wii U had. The Wii U gamepad could be used to play games without using the TV, but you had to be within 30 feet of the console in order to keep playing that way. The Switch's solution is that the screen itself is the console, so you can just take it wherever you go and not have to worry about being confined to one space. Plus, the tabletop mode is great for when I'm working on a video and want something to play in between work since I can have it on my desk.
But I've gone on long enough about the technical stuff. Let's get into what I'm sure you're all interested in the most, the games. I don't have a whole bunch of games, and Some of the more popular ones like ARMS or Splatoon 2, I also don't have. String me up, hang me, whatever. It's just for this video. By the time I'm making this video, I don't have them, so just calm down, alright? So for this portion, I'm gonna talk about the games that I've played and share my thoughts on them with you, the lovely people. All the lovely people, where do they all belong?
First, here's Blaster Master Zero. It's a remake of the original Blaster Master for the NES, which is one of my favorite games for the system, and it was developed by Inti Creates, who previously made Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10. When it comes to 8-bit style throwback platformers, they're pretty much the best in their craft, and Blaster Master Zero is a testament to that. They even acknowledged my existence. Inti Creates Senpai noticed me. Ugh, what have I become? Having the main goal be pretty much trying to find your pet frog is a bit dumb for this kind of game, but it's too much fun for me to even care. You control a character named Jason as you go around piloting a tank named Sophia, exploring different areas, shooting enemies, and using special weapons to get to more points on the map. You get these weapons by hopping out of the tank and going through doors that take you into these top-down shooting sections and killing the boss at the end, all by using your own assortment of weapons.
And there's a creature in this game called Mother Brain. I don't know if this is Inti Creates teasing their own possible new Metroid game, or maybe we're supposed to believe that Metroid and Blaster Master take place in the same universe, which I would totally be okay with. And by the way, when are we getting a new Metroid game? Oh. I guess I'm behind in the time.
I haven't seen that many people talking about this game, most likely because it was a Nintendo Switch launch title that could easily be overshadowed by another certain game, but if you haven't played Blaster Master Zero yet, please do. The controls are great, I love upgrading my weapons and how different and surprisingly effective they are, and the soundtrack is pretty sweet. And with recently released DLC, you can play as characters from other games like Shantae or Shovel Knight. So this is probably the only time I'll ever play a game with either of them. But now let's get into some of the Switch's more unique games. The first one being Snipperclips, where you can do anything if you work together. Like completely shred your partner out of existence. I'm not quite sure what to say about this one. I think it's some sort of puzzle game where you and a friend have to move and cut these little paper characters into different shapes to complete certain tasks. I've only played the demo for this game, so I can't show you all the puzzles, but the concept of Snipperclips is great. It's fresh, it's original, and it's easy to understand. If I ever get the full version, I'm sure Mike and I are gonna get a lot of use out of it. Then there's Puyo Puyo Tetris. As you can guess from the name, it's a crossover between one of the greatest and most popular puzzle games of all time and Puyo Puyo. Fortunately, the game doesn't force you to pick one or the other, so if you prefer Tetris, like me, you can stick with that. Unfortunately, there's one thing that lets the game down for me. It's a bit too, what's the right word, Japanese? Nothing against Japanese culture, but everything about this game just has that kind of feeling. The music, the art style, everything. And for someone like me, there's only so much of it I can take. Plus, I don't know if I'm the minority on this, but I can't stand these characters. They're not terrible or anything, they just don't really give the game a personality, and their voices are either unfitting for their designs, or just downright annoying. And apparently, Yuri of Wind is in this game.
Let's do this.
The only character that stands out to me is Rulu, but even then, it's only because of her weird goblin feet. Aside from that, if you're a fan of either Tetris or Puyo Puyo, and you have a higher tolerance for characters with irritating voices than me, this game is right up your alley. But if you want a better console Tetris experience with a lot more personality, my go-to game would be Tetris Plus on the PlayStation, or Tetris and Dr. Mario on the Super Nintendo. Ow, since you get two equally great puzzle games in one. Now, even though the Nintendo Switch doesn't have a dedicated virtual console service at the time of scripting this video, it does offer a wide variety of Neo Geo games. Well, I'm sure that'll make the guys from GameSack happy. How do they do that? So far, the only Neo Geo game I have on my Switch is Metal Slug. Your goal is simple. Shoot things. If it moves and it's in your way, kill it. Unless it's a prisoner, in which case, shoot the rope that's bounding them to the pole. I've never played the original Metal Slug before getting the Switch version, but now I'd say it's up there with some of my favorite arcade games of all time. The weapons are varied, the shooting feels great, and the sprite quality is amazing. I don't like how your character dies on one hit, but since I'm playing it on the Switch, I can just keep adding infinite virtual quarters to the machine so that I can keep playing. And I'm sure that I'm going to keep playing this game for a while. But when I'm not in the mood to destroy everything in my path, I like to dabble in a little Minecraft action from time to time. I'm not a hardcore Minecraft player, but I can pick it up and have a good time with it, mostly for creative mode. I'm really glad that I finally picked up the Switch version, and you wanna know why? The Super Mario Pack. That should have seemed obvious to a lot of you, but look at this place, it's amazing! And this giant Peach is sure to please someone's strange fantasy. There's a giant recreation of Peach's castle, and you could even go inside. I found most of the map from Super Mario World, including Donut Plains plus a Switch Palace. There's Vanilla Bridge with a secret exit to Soda Lake, the Forest of Illusion, the entrance to the Valley of Bowser. I even found Delfino Plaza from Super Mario Sunshine. Now let's blow it up.
Serves you right, you freaking jerks!
But that's not even half of the things you can find in this world. There are plenty of other secrets hidden all over, and everything from the toad houses to the skins you can wear is wonderful. I was also pleased to see games like Super Mario Galaxy 2 and even Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door get some attention too. As for everything else, well, it's Minecraft. So if you have a Switch and you like Minecraft, then go ahead and buy it.
Crap!
One other game that I find myself having a great time with is Kamiko. Or Kamiko? Kamiko? It's an 8-bit top-down explorative beat-em-up game, kinda like 3D Dot Game Heroes, only without the 3D part. As one of 3 characters, your goal is to kill enemies and solve puzzles in order to activate these gates that will unlock the path to the next level. You activate the gates by using stamina points, which you earn by ranking enough combos when killing bad guys. My character of choice is Hinome. I find her magic attacks to be more reliable, plus she has a nice red color scheme. The other 2 characters are fine. Uzume, however, is my least favorite. Shooting her arrows is pretty cool, but they're not the most efficient. Everything else about Kamiko, whatever, is awesome. The soundtrack is great, the visuals are bright and colorful, and the gameplay is super addicting. It's also really cheap to boot, so I recommend you check it out.
But now let's get to the game that I'm sure all of you have been waiting for. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. If there's a glare, I apologize, the lighting here is really bad. Like how Twilight Princess made people buy the original Wii, this is the game that made people buy a Nintendo Switch. And I was one of them. Well, more so for Super Mario Odyssey, but that game's not coming out until October, so this was the next best thing.
Okay, maybe the next best thing is a little harsh. As some of you probably know, I'm not really a huge fan of the Zelda series, with the exception of Link Between Worlds. But I was blown away with how this game looked right when I first saw it, and the idea of a massive open-world Zelda game was appealing to me. After playing it for a couple months now, I've come to a conclusion. Holy crap, this game is incredible! You have so much freedom in Breath of the Wild. You could do whatever you want, whether it be heading straight to Hyrule Castle to take on Calamity Ganon, which admittedly is kind of a stupid name, or you can explore the huge open world, climbing mountains, hunting for materials to cook into food, finding and completing shrines to get more spirit orbs to increase your health or stamina, taming wild horses and registering them to stables, even buying your own house. Oh, I think I need to sit down for a minute. I'm already sitting, what am I even doing with my life? There's absolutely no way I can do this game justice in the time that I have. But trust me, Breath of the Wild alone makes getting a Nintendo Switch worth it. You have a ton of options to take into consideration. There's so much to do in this game that it might take you years to complete the entire thing. And no matter what you decide to do with the world that you're put in, it's gonna be really hard for you to put the controller down. I will say, the voice acting is a bit of a turnoff for me. It's kind of ironic because this is the first major Zelda game to include fully voiced cutscenes, and the voice acting isn't very good, especially in Zelda's case. If the fake IGN movie trailer has taught me anything, it's that Zelda having a British accent doesn't work. Which is odd, since British accents normally make everything better. But for Zelda, it just doesn't fit. Fortunately, you can change the language settings, so I'd say stick with the Japanese voices, since they fit a lot more.
Well, there you have it, the Nintendo Switch. A pretty capable system for what it is, and one that I think could manage for a couple of years. The technology is amazing, being able to play it at home or on the go is a neat idea, and its library of games looks to be very promising, with titles such as Skyrim, ARMS, Splatoon 2, even though both of those are already out, and of course, Super Mario Odyssey. I've heard some people say they've been having troubles with the Switch, like the dock scratching the screen or the left Joy-Con having sync issues, but I haven't experienced any of these myself. The screen on my system is a little bit scratched, but it's not too noticeable to bother me. Aside from that, my time with the Switch has been perfectly stable and easy. I don't know if I just got lucky, or maybe there was a system update I wasn't aware of to fix the Joy-Con issue, but everything's been working fine for me. As for the paid online service that's coming in 2018, I don't mind it. To me, it shows that Nintendo wants to take online gaming more seriously, and you're gonna get some great deals for it, like some free Virtual Console games. Plus, it's a lot cheaper than Sony and Microsoft's online services, so I'm totally okay with them making this transition. Now, the Switch does have some things going against it. Some of my minor complaints include the size of the AC adapter and the placement of the charging port. This thing is way too huge, and trying to charge your system in handheld mode can be awkward. It's also a bit cumbersome to take it with you if you don't have a carrying case, because then you'll have to put the screen in one pocket and the Joy-Cons in the other, which works, but is still not the best way to do it. It also doesn't have an internet browser, or a dedicated Virtual Console service, or any way to access YouTube or Netflix. This is more of a personal gripe and not a major flaw by any means, but I find it baffling that these features were omitted when the console was released, especially since they're increasingly prominent on other modern game systems, and even handhelds like the 3DS. I'm sure these are going to be added with a future update, but I just wish they were included on launch. The Nintendo Switch has the potential to be a fantastic console. So if Nintendo can really push it to its limits, further exploit things like the HD Rumble or the portability, as well as dish out some high quality titles, whether first party or third party, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. With that said, this is Mark, aka Marc Lovallo, bidding you all a smashing farewell.